Okay, so yeah. Okay, good evening, good evening. Hello, hi. Welcome guys. This is a seminar, and for those of you that are coming here newly, this is the Gambia Students Association in Morocco. Today we have a seminar on research methodologies and thesis writing. My name is Abdullah Y. Bojang. I'm the co-host for today's show, and I'm the current PRO of Gasam, and here with me is my co-host. I think I will let her do the introductions as well. By the way, she is our guest as well. So, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abdullah. Hello, everyone. My name is Fatmata Jabi. I was the former vice president of GASAM, which is the Gambian Students Association. I recently graduated with my master's in public policy and governance, a research master's base, and I am currently the political science analyst at the Youth Policy Center, which is a Moroccan think and do tank, which aims to empower Moroccan youth both economically and politically. And also recently, I had a position as in the international cooperation with partners at African Youth Architect. Some of you might know it, Aya. So today it's going to be a seminar on research methodology. The reason why I think this is very important is because although many of you guys, depending on the schools that you are in or the universities that you are in, you might or might not be taking a research methodology course, and you are expected for majority of you guys to write a thesis or PFE for those who are in Morocco, either or at the bachelor's or master's level. And I know that some of the methodology, while some might be adequate, they might give you all the information necessary to start a thesis. Some are lacking, and that is why I deemed it necessary to come in and share my journey and also the tips and what is the research methodology. When we talk about research methodology or thesis writing, what are we talking about, and what are the elements that you need to consider when you're writing a thesis. And I also share my at the end of the program I will share the results of my master's thesis. It's on the experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco, and I wanted to look at how the Morocco's internationalization strategy to internationalization strategy of the higher education through the experience of sub-Saharan students, deeming with the hypothesis that the experience high satisfaction rate of sub-Saharan students in Morocco means a successful implementation of their internationalization internationalization of their higher education. We'll come to that later. So yeah, before we start, I just want to say I am not an expert. I saw that they mentioned it in GASAM. I am not an expert. I am not a professor. I'm not a PhD student. I'm a master student, and I think knowledge when you have. I am not. I'm here to share the little knowledge that I have, and I think when you have that, you don't need to keep it to yourself. You need to help your brothers and sisters. And I was once in that position, struggling to even start writing my thesis, to even although imagine, although I took a methodology class, but it took time for me to connect the dots. So sometimes you might have the class, you might go through the class, but it takes time for you to connect the dots and understand this is where this should be, this is how I need to move from point A to point B to point C. So that is the main goal of this seminar, to share tips and tricks on how to write a research and the elements that you need to put into consideration. So without further ado, I would the way the program would be set is, first I would do a presentation, a slides presentation, and then later our able PRO at the end would take questions from the audience that are following. So feel free to ask your questions, and I would try and answer that to the best of my ability. So while the program is going, you just be sharing your comments, your questions, and Abdullah would get it to me. Okay, so c'est parti. Let's start. I will just share my screen, and yeah, we will begin from there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Javi. To add on to that, this is very crucial because me personally, I might be doing my thesis, but there is not a course in thesis. How do I call it? Not a module for thesis writing and then research as well. So it's like we are only given our thesis, So this is really helpful, and I think it will help a lot, and it will also encourage a lot as well to come forward, because as Gassam stands as a African, and this is really helpful. To our viewers, as you can see from the caption, this is a seminar on research methodologies and thesis writing with our able guest Fatma Jabi as well. Yeah. Okay. So here is the thesis. Thank you. I guess I'll be on the
So
background.
yeah, thank you so much, Abdullah. We will just start. Um, Actually, what is research methodology, or what is a thesis? That is what we are going to look at first. What is a thesis, or what is a PFO? So, generally, a thesis is a formal document or a formal academic document that presents the research and their findings of a student as part of their higher education. So, the primary focus of a thesis is to demonstrate the student's proficiency or ability in conducting original research and contributing to the existing body of knowledge in their specific field of study. So, generally, a thesis document is contains the following. So, it contains the following. So you have the title page, the abstract, the acknowledgement, table of content, list of figures, introduction. You have the conceptual framework or the theoretical framework. Then you have the problem. The problem is your central question that you are going to work on or you are going to answer. In French, we say la problématique. That's the problem statement. Then you have your objectives that will be included. What do you want to achieve with this thesis? Why are you doing it? Why is it relevant? Those are your objectives. You have your methodology. What type of methodology are you going to use? The results and the analysis, and then you have the references and the appendix. We're going to look at this all these elements one by one. Hopefully, you are familiar with some of them, or you might be familiar with all of them, or some of them, or none of them. So we will try and break it down. So before we start, I just want to say that usually this seminar is like a complimentary, you can say, module to your methodology course. So you always it's very advisable that you if you're I know that many of the people who are in Morocco here, this is the final semester or the final year, or the S6 we say here. So many of you might have started your writing, or you are researching, or you already have your your topics on your encadrants. That is your thesis supervisors. Some of you might not be in your final year, but you are interested in learning what is all this about. So for those who are in their final years or final semesters, you always have to work with your professors. Very, very important. You work with your professors, follow, listen to them, and follow the guidelines that they are telling you. So I think that will also help. So steps in writing your thesis or your paper. So we are going to look at this in a holistic view, using looking at it from three major steps, which is first the research, the second is the writing, and the third is the presentation. So the research is the time where you are looking for your topic, you're looking for your topic, you're having ideas, you're getting ideas. What do I have to do? What is the topic that I want to work on? So you are at that initial stage. So that's the research in a sense. And also the research also includes like the literature review, looking for articles, looking at conference seminar writings, reports, and things like that relevant to your field and what you want to do. So the writing is actually the sitting down and typing, for moving from one chapter to another, moving from one part to another. And the presentation is when you will have to present that in front of a jury. What we say in for our international viewers, if we have those who are following us who are not familiar with the French system, what we say soutenance, which is the thesis presentation, where you go in front of a jury, you present your work. So that is the presentation. So if you see, I wrote here, note the first two are not linear. Research or thesis writing is not linear. What I mean by that is, it's not that you move from, okay, after research, writing, presentation. No, especially the first two. It's not like you move from research, you move. It's like a va-et-vient. It's like moving from and to, moving from and to on these two steps. So it's important. For example, you're writing, you did your you have an idea and you did your research and you're writing, you found that, wait, something is missing, something doesn't make sense. Oh, what do? You go and research again. You go and look for articles. You look at what are those articles, what did they say about this part, or what are the results, so you include that. So that is what I mean when I say they are not linear. So research, the first step we are going to look at is research, finding a topic. So finding a thesis topic can be both exciting and challenging. So here are maybe some of the steps that will help you identify a compelling thesis topic. So one of the ways in which you can find a thesis topic is exploring your academic interest. We all, are taking courses throughout our 3 years or 4 years of bachelor's degree or 2 years of master's degree, and we know we've attended modules or we've taken modules or courses that we feel like, oh, this one I really like this thesis. No, I really like this course, I really like the contents of it. And maybe in those modules or courses you have been given assignments on topic to explore or to do assignments on, or a topic that you guys have looked at, and it intrigued your interest, and you're like, yeah, I think maybe I would do this. I will develop this for my thesis, or I will choose this topic and develop it. So that is one of the ways that you can find a thesis topic, and it's really cut down a lot of work because you already know the topic, you've discussed it in class, or you've done it as an assignment. So it's like you know where you are heading. Another way to find a research topic is through literature review. So we are going to look at this specifically and know like what is literature review. Literature is all the articles and relevant documents um, that is talking about a particular topic. What's the findings that researchers have done, or the studies, sorry, that researchers have done on that particular topic. So you look at all the articles that have been discussed on that topic. That is what we call literature. And the going through of those literature of all those articles is what we call review. And before I move forward, I just want to say that I know that a lot of students here who are following this program are of different backgrounds. What I mean, academic backgrounds. There are some that are in the social sciences. There are some that are in the life sciences, the engineering, and the computer sciences, and the rest of those are in commerce as well. So there would be specificities of what you guys are expected to do. That is why I said it's very important that you work with your Ankara and know what you guys, the specificities or things that are required from you. But this is just to give a general overview of what research is and what are the elements that are included. So yeah, we're going to move to the third point, which is talking to your professors and peers. Talking to your professors and peers help you, find a topic. For example, you're discussing, and it personally happened to me when I was looking for a topic. I was talking with my classmates. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to study, or this is what I don't know, this is what I want to work on, and then they give you actually articles to they will suggest things like, oh, maybe you can read this article. I saw an article, maybe you can read it, or maybe this is how you can approach it. So they will give you ideas on how to go about it. So talking to your professors helps, and your peers, they help you guide, or they help guide you to finding a research topic. Also, attending conferences and seminars in your fields. This is really, really important. If you have the opportunity to attend both online and offline events or conferences that is linked to your specific field of study, it helps you look at what is actually going, what are the current trends, what is happening in your field of, so what are the actuality, like we said, the current issues that have been discussed. And it might spark an idea or in you, and you'll be like, yeah, I think I might work on that. And it also makes your work relevant because you are working on something that is actually currently being discussed in your area. So that comes back to current issues and challenges, and listening to news, reading, maybe listening to news, reading newspapers or journals on things like that, searching for current issues or world problems. That can also help you find a research topic in your field area. Also, brainstorming and narrowing down. I remember when I was doing my PFO or my thesis, I was going through a lot of topics, a lot of topics, and I remember I had so many ideas. I knew that I wanted to at the beginning. I knew that I wanted to do something with the experience of um, international students in Morocco. But that topic is huge, like it's huge. And when you're doing research, you have to always narrow your topic down. So I went from first, like I knew the key words and elements that I want to include into my research. So every time I come up with a new idea, first I was like, I wanted to explore the I think the um, the contribution or the role of international students in influencing Morocco's soft power, something like that, or economic soft power in the region. And I remember moving. Imagine that was my original topic, and I used that topic to apply for a stage. So if you are doing your masters or your thesis, applying for, if you have the opportunity, of course, and if you have the time, try to apply for a stage. Going through a stage, it also helps you because you get to see maybe especially a specific area that you want to work on. It helps you get ideas on what you can do and people in those stage places are very experienced, so they have technical knowledge, and that they will guide you and orient you. So when I applied for a stage at the Ministry of Higher Education here in Morocco, the Department of Cooperation and Partnership, I presented that topic to the to the director, which I can tell you the lady was amazing. She welcomed me. The staffs were amazing. You know, I had an excellent time there. So when I the first when I was accepted, I first met with her and I explained that topic to her. She's like, this is a very good topic, but it's broad, and I think you might want to work on that maybe in your um, PhD. But right now, because of time and etc etc etc, it's better for you to maybe work on something different. I was like, okay. I also spoke to my professor about my ankada, my supervisor, and I was like, yeah, I think maybe I will change my topic. So I took different stages to get to this topic. So yeah, just to let you know how it can be an evolutional journey. You know, starting from one idea to another before you get your topic. So that is just a side note or an anecdote. So yeah. So on the last slide, I told you what we are going to talk about: literature review. And so literature review, like I said, it's the review. It's reviewing of relevant literature and previous research related to your topic. So why is literature review important? Literature review is very important for the following reasons. It helps you identify gaps in the existing knowledge. And what I mean by that is that maybe a lot of researchers, maybe 10 researchers on a specific topic. For example, let's say I will take my let's say just give me a second, please. Can you guys see my slide? I am now on literature review. Like, please confirm for me. You can come in and tell me if my slides are not moving.
Yeah, it's actually stagnant. For me, I only see research methodologies, like your first page.
Oh, really?
Yes, I don't know.
Can you check for
Which,
others whether it's the same?
okay, let me do that.
Guys, please don't hesitate to let me also just give me 1 minute. Let me also confirm from my side on the live stream and see where. So
Yeah,
just give me 1 minute. Let me also confirm from my side
it's the same on all
on the live
platforms,
stream.
Javi.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. Let me. Sorry, guys. Let me.
it's okay.
I don't know why it's doing that, but well,
It's okay. It's probably network.
yeah, maybe as well.
Yeah, that's been,
Um. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me present. So can you see it?
yes, we can. It's okay now.
Is it? I am now on literature review. Can you still see it? Can you see the
Yeah,
literature?
sure, we can. We
Okay.
can.
Okay. Now I'm moving to research and find a topic. Can you see that one as well? Abdullah.
Yes, we can say it's visible. We are still on literature review, anyways.
You're still on literature review.
Yeah,
Uh,
1.2.
uh, maybe it takes time.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's doing that, but
yeah, it's probably network. I believe.
Maybe it's network from my side. Let me just
Can you share it?
it okay, now let me share it with you
Yeah, share it with me. Let me present it right now.
so that we I can just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Can you please send me should I share it on StreamYard
You can share it with me through WhatsApp, likely.
through WhatsApp? It's not on my
Yeah.
phone, that's why, but let me
Oh,
check.
it's okay. Yes, share it through stream. Yeah, I think I can do it.
Um how can I do that? Do you think? Okay, just wait. I will just 1 minute. Let me just guys just take a pause, not pause, just give us 2 or 3 minutes while we regularly like take care of this, okay? Just 1 minute. We want to make this as good as possible. So yeah, these things happen in life on life events.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, it's not that of a big deal. It happens all the time. To our viewers, thank you very much. It has indeed been an amazing session. Yeah. Sorry, am I audible?
Abdullah, can you hear me? Can you please send me your email and I can forward it to you?
No,
Please send me your email on my WhatsApp, please.
okay, I'll do that shortly.
Mm. So guys, while we take care of this issue, I just want to remind those who might be joining us now is a seminar on research methodology organized by the Gambian Students Association in Morocco. The main aim of this event is to help students, final year students or students who are, higher institute students to help them in their research thesis writing or give them the familiar knowledge that they're going to need when that time comes. So that is the reason why BASAM um, just thought of it's a great idea um, to help their members, not only their members, but all those who are students all over. So just give us 2 minutes while we sorry, I said while we solve this issue, and we will continue. It will be as if it never happened. Abdullah, I just sent it to you on your email. Please check it. Abdullah, can you hear me? Okay, so while we wait for Abdullah, I will just go through what's the streaming platforms and see those who are with us. Um, so yeah, so while we wait for Abdullah to come, I would still share my screen and see whether it's the same issue or not. Um, um, Abdullah, are you here with us? Abdullah, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here, Javi. I'm here. I'm just opening
I
it.
okay, no problem.
Yeah,
So maybe you can help me from your side.
exactly, exactly. I'm almost done with it. Mm,
Okay.
I'll be presenting shortly.
Abdullah, is it ready?
Yeah, yeah, it is ready.
Okay, good. So, guys, please don't leave. We'll be continuing shortly. So stay with us, and don't forget to like and share your comments and questions while the program is going on. If you have things that you might not understand or things you want more elaboration on, feel free to drop down your comments, and Abdullah will help us, you know, share it with us at the end of the program, and I'll try my best to answer those questions. So, Abdullah, just in case you are sharing, it's not visible.
Yeah, and so I hope it is visible now.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, okay, so we can do that.
Okay, you can go to the where there's I think research methodology.
Okay,
No, 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 no. Literature before literature review. The slide. Okay, so no. Okay, yes, yes. Let's start from there. Let's start. No, no.
okay,
Before this one. Before this one. Okay, since that's the second. I have a question. Since we started, I am echoing.
yeah, that's
Since we
because
started, it was only on research methodology, right? The beginning, right, Abdullah?
sorry, I was talking. Yeah, it was just that. It was just
Okay,
research methodologies.
okay then. So we will start from the beginning, just not to go explain what I've explained, but just to show what the slides I
Okay,
was talking about.
d'accord, no
Yeah.
problem. Okay.
So if you've stopped sharing.
Yeah, I stopped sharing because I was sharing my entire screen since.
Mm,
Okay. Now I'll mute myself. If you need anything, I would be in the private chat.
okay, no problem. So you can share the slides, Abdullah. Okay, go back before this slide on all the way from. Okay, I think before this. Okay, yeah. So this is what I was talking about. What is a thesis? And it's a formal document, like I said, and the purpose of it is to uh, demonstrate the students' proficiency of in conducting original research. I have explained all of this. You can move on next. Okay, so this is what's a typical thesis um, document looks like. You have the title page, the abstract, the acknowledgement, table of content, the list of figure, introduction, conceptual framework and problem, the objectives. What are the objectives of your research? Why is it relevant and why do you want to research on it? That is the objective. The methodology, what type of methodology are you going to use? We are going to look at all of this in the next slide. The results and the analysis. What are the, because usually why accept results and analysis? Usually in research, especially in the social sciences and maybe in your other fields of studies, um, you have the research is divided into two. The first one is where you do the theory side and everything, and the second part of it is where you do your um, field work. or should we say case study. In French, we say étude de terrain, meaning you are going to study people, or you have an echantillon and stuff like that. So we are going to look at all of that. Your conclusion and your references and appendices. We're going to look at all of that. Next slide, please. Abdullah, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, looking at research from a holistic view. We are going to look at it from a three major steps: the research. I've talked about all of this, the writing and the presentation. So yeah, I've explained all of this just to show what I was talking about. Actually, you can move to the next slide. Okay, so I think this is where we stopped before we move to literature review. So this is what I was talking about, finding a research topic. How do you find a research topic? One is exploring academic interest, literature review, talk to your professors, attend conferences, etc., etc. So move on to the next. No, no, no. Literature review. Okay, perfect. So this is where we stopped, and I talked about it briefly. So what is literature review? Like I said, it's no, no, no. Yeah, this place is good there. Um, so literature review, it's the review of relevant literature. When we talk about literature, it's like the knowledge that has been developed in that field of study, or in that topic that you are going to you want to work on. What is already existed? What have they talked about? What are some of the areas that the researchers talked about? So, for example, if you have a topic, the topic can be very huge. You understand? Like, for example, experience of international students. It's a very big topic. It's it's big. And for example, the one researcher might look at the experience of international students from a cultural aspect. One person can look at it from an academic aspect. The other one can look at it about from the financial aspect. The other one can look at it from the psychological aspect. What are some of the psychological challenges that international students go through? So another researcher might come and say, okay, I want to combine all of this and look at all of this. And the topic, for example, um, before we go to that, so why is literature review important? Why is it important for you to look at um, the knowledge that exists on that topic? So first, it helps you identify gap in existing research. And when I talk about what is a gap in existing research, for example, I've just give a brief example of it. um, One maybe of a topic, I'll give you my own experience of international student. One researcher spoke about this part, the other person spoke about this part. Or maybe they spoke about it, they made their research on it, but they focused on the experience of international students in America, or the USA, or or in Canada. But nothing of that sort exists in maybe in Morocco or in Gambia. You see, so that is what we call a gap in the literature. Like, and the gap in the literature, maybe it can be a specific aspect, or a region, or you understand what I mean. So, for example, um, on my topic, there was a lot of literature about the experience of international students in the US. Especially majority of the literature that exists is on the like experience of international students in the western parts of, like, let's say abroad in the western part of the world. You have some that do exist in Africa, and but they are not a lot, according to what I have found on open access. When I say open access, it means the articles that have been that are available on Google and things like that. So that is what I mean. So I was like, okay, and I looked at Morocco. I'm like, yes, there's experience. There are a lot of there. articles on the experience of international students or sub-Saharan students, but it's very limited. So it's very, very limited. So I was like, okay, I want to contribute to this gap of literature, to fill the gap. So if you find a niche is like if you find an entry point, that is you use it to fill that gap a little bit. So as more research comes in, the gap becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So I was like, okay, I want to look at the experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco. So I looked at their economics, their sociocultural integration. I looked at their financial, psychological. I looked at yeah, all of these aspects, and to my knowledge, like using experience like studying the experience of international students and linking it to like not international but sub-Saharan students and linking it to the Morocco's higher education internationalization strategy was like kind of new, you know, in relations to the articles that I found. So I was like, okay, I found my entry point. So I'm trying to fill the gap. That's what I mean. So it's literature review, reviewing existing research helps you contextualize your research. It helps you understand the topic better, and it helps you contextualize it, build a context around it. And also, it helps you build a theoretical framework. So, we are going to look at what theoretical framework is, but it helps you build a theoretical framework. It also helps you avoid redundancy because when you look at the existing research, you know that okay, this researcher have talked about this. You know, for example, if it already existed in Morocco, the same exact point that you want to focus on has already been researched in Morocco. So you're like, there's no need for me to do it because there's already existing research. Except when you find an entry point, maybe the researcher did not talk on a specific aspect you think is very important. That is your niche. Always find an entry point. It helps you build helps you in building your methodology or choosing your methodology. What type of method are you going to use, whether it's quantitative method or qualitative method. So we are going to look at all of them. It also it helps in showing the reader that you are aware scholarly because you are when you're writing your thesis, there's a specific chapter where dedicated for literature review. So when you do your literature review and write it properly, you showed your uncadre, your supervisor that oh yes, I have read a lot about it and I understand what is there and what is not there. So it helps you also support your hypothesis and your research questions. So when you're reading your like different articles that have been worked on, you get to look at the problem or the research questions that they worked on and the hypothesis that they have constructed. So for example, for me, when I was doing my own thesis, I saw through the different method articles that I have looked at, I found a lot of research questions and hypotheses. So I was like, okay, yes, it's guiding me, it's giving me more idea on what to look on. So at the end, the hypothesis that I went with is it's that a higher satisfaction rate um, among sub-Saharan students suggests a successful implementation of the Morocco's higher education internalization strategy. So that is my hypothesis. So what hypothesis is a temporary answer to your research. So you as a researcher, you need to find out for especially for those who are in the life sciences, you know what a hypothesis is. So you need to through your research you need to look at whether the hypothesis is true or not. So that is what it is. And it helps you look at research questions. What are the areas that you want to work on your research question? So also identifying key concepts and terminologies. When you're reading articles, you get familiarized with key concepts and terminologies. For example, in my own is like the key concepts on terminologies were soft power, internationalization, experience of international students, the like, etc., etc., etc. And so when you're writing, whatever word or concept you use, you already understand what it is. You don't use them like that. So you just don't write use concept. No, you understand what they mean and what they mean in the context of your research. And the last one is guiding the research design. So that also is really important. Okay, you can move on. Abdullah, you can move on to the next slide. Abdullah, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here, Javi.
Yeah, you can move on to the next slide, please.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you, the question, you might ask a question. Okay, you talked about research, literature review, and how do you find literature or how do you find articles? And the question is, the answer to that is you go on Google and you look for it. But there are tricks to finding articles on Google. So you can, the websites that are really helpful to finding articles is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is really, really important. Like all articles that are open access, there are some articles that are closed access. It means you cannot access them. That's why it's called closed access. But there are some that are open access out there for you to work on. So one is Google Scholar. Go to Google Scholar, and to access Google Scholar, you just go to Google. You just go to Google, write Google Scholar, and you click on it, and you start writing. For example, if you know the key, that's why key concepts and key words are very important, because when you're searching for topics, you need to first know the keywords that you are going to put in, that will orient, like it's just like Google is algorithm. So if you, whatever you feed it, that's what it will produce for you. So for example, if you looked at soft power, for me in my case, soft power, international students experience, all of these stuff, it brings you articles. So that's one of the ways to find articles. Researchgate is another amazing place to find um, articles. But like for them, you just access it. You can open like an account with them, or you just through writing the key points, keywords, you can find majority. If it's available in your field of study, you will find them there. And a very important thing to use, which I learned from actually KJ, thank you so much for this point, for this trick. Whenever you are writing, whenever you are searching for an article, for example, you search maybe international student experience, it's very important you write at the end of that sentence PDF. So whenever you write PDF, automatically it directs you to articles, and that helps a lot. And trust me, it does. Because when you just write it, just write international student experience, you might find articles, but it will be a mixture of maybe other documents that are not really relevant to what you're looking for, or your this thing. So when you write PDF, it takes you there straight directly. So you might also ask, with all this, if I'm reading, imagine reading more than 50 articles or 30 articles, because when you're at this stage, you need to do an extensive reading of literature. So you might ask, like, with all this paper, how will I be able to like retain all the informations? I've been looking through many articles. How can I organize and retain this information? So there's a trick. Luckily, there's a trick. Abdullah, I for now I will show you something. Abdullah, can you please stop sharing? I want to share for just 1 minute and then you continue. Okay, so how do you organize your literature review? It's very important, because when you are reading, you just don't want to come and read and then forget everything you read about. and you always want to keep it in a safe place. So I'm going to show you this. Is my screen visible? Okay, so this is my, actually it's 45. This is my literature review. We call this fish that how do you call it? Fish I forgot the name there. Okay, in French it will come to my head. So uh, this is my literature review for my master's thesis. So for you to be able to organize your thesis, your literature review, this is how you do it. First, you draw up a table like this. The first column, you have this one, two, three, four, five. The first one, you write article titles. Article title. This one is dedicated to the article. Name of author, or name of author or authors. You have the method, you have the results and finding, and you have key concepts. So this is the best way to organize your literature review. So, for example, this article is called "A Study on the Academic Adaptation of International Students in China." When you are, it's very important when you are reading an article, you read it very intelligently. Like, they say that says study smart but not study hard. It works on this one as well. You don't want to read an article and then you put it, you're thinking that you might remember it, and then maybe a few months down the line you remember something, and then you have to go through pages and pages, like, articles and articles before you find that. So on the on the article section, you write, this is the title. This one here is the title. This is the title. And then you add the date of publication. When is this published? Because this is very important. Because when you are writing, we are going to go to the writing part. But the reason why it's important is because when you are writing, there's something called references. You have the reference at the end, and you have in-text citation. So when you are writing your whatever in your thesis, you always have to put information that are not yours. Information that are not yours. You don't just copy and collate. That is plagiarism, and that is a huge offense in the academic world. So information that are not yours, either you want to paraphrase them or either you want to quote them. You always have to put them in the in-text citation. And to be able to do that, you always have to we are going to look at the different reference system styles if you have time. You always have to write, for example, if it's written by, let's say, let me give an example. If the article is written by Omar Chang, so you write, for example, okay, here, the results here, it says the study concluded that international students face challenges in three aspects: academic, social, and this thing. So you say that in your literature review, for example, um, research find out international students face challenges, in three aspects. Bracket open, charm, comma, 2019. So it that you are it's in-text citation. We'll come to that. Let's not this thing that first. So here in this article, you make sure that you take all the important information on the title the article have to offer. So you have the date here, and you are going to also look at the journal that published it. You have to include that in here in this first part. The journal, for example, if it's published by uh, Journal of Psychological Education, you have to put it there. Bam. You have to put in the number volume. Na, 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 na. So wait, let me just give you an example of a typical research topic. Okay, let's see. Hmm, let's see. Okay, I'll just stop sharing, and then look at one here. Okay, let me just share this one first. So, uh, I think it will take time for it to. I don't know whether you guys are seeing my screen. Not yet, I think. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, just this is a typical. You guys can zoom in, maybe if you are watching on a streaming platform. So this is like a typical research topic, research paper. So you have here the research the research topic experience examining the cultural adjustment examine the cultural adjustment experience of African international college students. So this is here, and it is published by um, a journal which is called Journal in Cons- Counseling Psychology, and it's 2005. You have the author, Lavrin Barkol and Sean o- Utsi. These are this you put all of these ones, very important. And this here, the small thing here, let me zoom it in. So this small thing here is also very important. It's called DOI, Digital Object Identifier. You need to also include that because it helps you. Every article, not all, but majority of the articles or many articles out there have digital object identifier. This is what helps you find those articles. So these things, all of these things will be included into your main reference at the end of your thesis, the main reference. But you need to include all of that so that at the beginning, when you have all of this information organized, at the end it will not commonly it will not you will not find trouble, or you will not find it hard to all of this. So this is what it is. Okay. So this is the introduction, the method. So you always, like I said, when you're reading an article, read it intelligently or smartly. So what you would do is, on a typical article, you know what, usually they have abstract. So here, this is the abstract here. This is the abstract. We are going to look at what the abstract means, but it's like a general summary of the whole article, the methodology used, the main results found. That is what an abstract is. So you can have a general idea of what the research is about without reading the whole thing. So you read the article for the abstract first, and then which it gives you a general idea. You can read the introduction if you want, which is really good because there are certain this thing important, there's things there. So you go to the method. The method is very important. What is the method that they use? Is it questionnaire, like qualitative or quantitative method? You write it there because looking at the method, it helps you guide what to use yourself. So the number of student participants that were interviewed, you look at here, it says 12 African international college students pursuing an undergraduate degree. All of this important. This all of the information is important. Predominantly white university. No, 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 no. You look at the method. Take all the important information in the method. Look at the background and the biases, and then you go to the results. You go to the results. What did the article? What did the researchers found? That is their results. You look at those things, and you and the analysis that they give their results. You look at all of that. So all of this is their results. This is the what they found. Come on, Jirish. Okay, okay. They looked. They found the results that they found cultural adjustment problems in United States. They discussed that what they found, and they put that broke it down. You have family and friendship networks, response to typical to prejudicial and discriminatory treatment, openness. These are their results. This is what you are looking for. This is very the results are very, 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 very important, because when you are writing your literature review, it you are going to support your own topic by what is found or what the already existing research. So we are going to look at that. So this is a typical article. So you do that. So the referencing I'm talking about, this is the reference. So you have in-text citation. You see the in-text citations I'm talking about. Yeah. So these are the in-text citations. It's the articles that you've used and the information that are not yours. These are the in-text citation. And then you have the main citation, the main reference. So these are the main reference. So you, according to, again, for the referencing, there are a lot of reference styles, different reference styles. So you have to speak with your anchor and ask him or her what type of referencing styles that they want you to use. You have the one for the francophone style and the anglophone style. Even within the anglophone style, there are different ones. You have the Harvard referencing style, you have the APA seventh edition referencing style, etc., etc. And also the francophone style is also different. So you will need to speak with your anchor down about this. So this is the referencing style. You see, um, it's done in academic, like alphabetical orders, all the A, B, B. Anyway, we'll come to that. Oof, okay. Mm, so let's get back to, yes, here. So here, the article part, that's how you organize it. You look at, um, in the article, what is their objective? What is the, because they clearly spell out their objective. So you take the objective, you paste it in your literature review. So here the objective, this is the objective, and like I said, published by you, the journal that published it, published by the Canadian Center of Science and Education. This is the digital object identifier. You put all of this into one section. Here, the name of the author. The you put the name of the author, their first name and their last name, the full name. Here, the third one is the method. What type of method did they use? Qualitative, semi-structured interview. That is what they use here. So it says interviews were focused on research questions, C question, so that's the method that they use. So now you go to the findings, which is like the important, very important. All of these are very important, but here, you know, is super important. So the results and findings. So here you see that these are the results that they found. You see, I put them into quotation marks because they are not mine. All these results, they are not mine. They are these are the researchers are the ones who found it. So they said they found that some international students have academic challenges, and what did they find in that? They have other challenges as well. There are some financial supports, etc., etc., readiness, etc., etc. So here you have the key concept. What are the key concepts that are being used? You have internationalization, soft power. So you would do this for all the articles that you've found out. And yeah, here this one, academic and social adjustments, etc. You do the same for all of these articles. Mine was 45 45 pages long, but it had really helped me. It really helped me, trust me. So yeah, this is actually how to organize a literature review. It's called fiche de lecture. The French thing, it came back now. The word I forgot it. It's called fiche de lecture. So there are two types of fiche de lecture. Just this is one of them. So you look at it, and etc. 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 So yeah, Abdullah, you can continue sharing. Mm, you can continue sharing from your side. Abdullah, if you're here, okay. So yeah, now we looked at how to find a literature review and how to organize your literature review. Now we are going to move to the next slide, please. Okay. So we now we are going to what is a conceptual or theoretical framework. So a conceptual or theoretical framework is a set of interconnected concepts, ideas, or theories that help structure and guide your research. It, sorry, sorry. It outlines the relationship between variables and provide a theoretical foundation for the study. So that is what a theoretical framework is. It's like a theory or series of concepts that form a foundation for your research, and it helps you contextualize your research. So the purpose of it, or the primary purpose of a conceptual framework, is to help the researchers conceptualize their study and develop a roadmap for inquiry. It provides a lens. This one is very important. It provides a lens through which to view the research problem and assist in organizing your thoughts and ideas. So, for example, if you're, let's say, and it's majority, the ones I am aware of, a thesis, whatever paper or thesis, you always need to find a conceptual. You need a conceptual or theoretical framework. It's the foundation in which you base your research on, and it helps provide context and help provide a lens through which um, your research can be viewed or your research questions can be viewed. So, for example, you are talking about the let's say on my I'll always give example for my own. It's you're talking about the experience of international students. Mhm. Experience of international students abroad. So that in itself contains a lot of key concepts. For example, the experience, international students. So when you talk about international students, you're talking about student mobility, and you through your literature review, which is very important. Each article have a conceptual framework. So in order for you to find a um, um, come on, Dinesh. The literature review, it helps you identify the conceptual framework that best suits your topic. So that is why it's super important. So, for example, for my case, the experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco. When you're talking about experience, we're talking about, of course, the experience. We're talking about student mobility. We are talking about universities that are not in the home countries of those students. So it means that if they are flying over or they are moving to another country. So that is in that context, we are the conceptual framework that best suits this is the internationalization of higher education. That is the conceptual, that is my foundation. So I am going to look at the conceptual, the internationalization of higher education. You The conceptual framework for this was developed by Knight. I forgot her first name, but is a woman, Knight. So what you're going to do if you find a conceptual framework that best suits your own, you're going to go look for it, study it, see what they talk about. You understand? So for example, you look at take all the information and you write it down. So it's as if Lee, I remember when my professor, the coordinator of my masters, and also my supervisor, at the beginning, I think S2 or S1, she used to tell us at that time. I was like, what is this? I don't understand what she was talking about, but at the end, I understood. Thesis is about story writing. Thesis, writing a story, is about story. It's about like writing a thesis is very similar to writing a story because you are guiding the reader from one point A to point B. You are telling them a story. You understand? So, like for example, you're talking about telling them about the the reason why you are doing this, the method you're going to use, or the conceptual framework that you're going to use to support your this thing, etc. What you have found and how you understand. It's kind of like everything is interconnected, and you always have to connect the dots when you're writing thesis. Everything needs to make sense from the beginning to the end. Needs to make sense. It needs to be in harmony. So now, like for my own, I use the internationalization of higher education. I looked at what is this called, what is this theory, or what is this concept, what did they find. And they found out that, yeah, they talked about student mobility, what is student mobility, etc, etc, which links perfectly with what I'm looking for because it's international experience of international student. So you look at that, you are explaining what that conceptual, what that is, what they're talking about. You explain it there. So I hope that's a bit clear. Abdullah, you can go move next. So now you're going to look at the research method. So the research method refers to the systematic process, techniques, and procedures that researchers use to collect, analyze, and interpret, and draw conclusions from their data. So let me read that again. It's a systematic process, a technique or procedure that researchers use to collect, analyze, interpret, and draw conclusion from their data. So in a research method, you a research methodology is like it's a study of research methods, and the research method is very important because it is or the research technique, sorry, not research technique. A research technique is a way in which you collect your information or your data. So for example, if you are doing an etude de terrain, a case study, for example, in my case, I did a case study on sub-Saharan students. So the research method that I used was quantitative. I used surveys. So that surveys, quantitative research method, the surveys is my method. Oh no, not my method, it's my technique. So like the research method is like broad, and then you have the technique. And the technique is like like more precise in which you collect your data. So I collected my data through surveys. So that survey is my research method. And then you have the qualitative research method, which is through interviews, semi-structured, structured interview, or mixed. And then you have for the other fields of study, experimental research, observed cause and effect. There are different research methods out there. Depending on your field of study, you need to know which one suits you best or what you're looking for. So yeah, in my case, I did surveys. I wrote like surveys or questionnaire, and I was able to collect 108 responses, and I used that um, survey because you cannot just take that raw data like that. You need to analyze it. So you use like a software. For me, I use SPSS. SPSS is like a software you use to analyze your data, which is really, 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 really good. And So yeah, that's my case. We move next slide, please. So At the end of your research step, the first step, uh, you might have all this information, all these ideas, all these concepts, you at this point, after doing all the reading and everything related to your topic, at this stage you may have an idea or a plan or plan. Note that, like, this plan, for example, how you're going to um, structure your thesis into chapters. You have chapter headings, what you want to discuss in A, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, party 1, party 2. You understand? You have all of this, but it's also important to know that this plan will change with time. It might change, it might evolve when you are exposed to new information, or that's why I said the research and writing are not linear. There's like a to and fro, va-et-vient. So yeah, let's move. So now writing. Now you have all these informations. You are working with your Ankada. Talking about Ankada is very, very important as a final year student, or a student that is going to their final year, or somebody who has started their thesis writing. Maybe you have your topic. There are certain Ankadrangs that, let me give you just a brief. Depending on the school you are in, or the topic that you have, or the personality of your Ankadan. There are certain Ankadans that are very, very active. They pursue you from the beginning of your thesis writing to the end of your thesis writing. So they are proactive. They follow every step. There are some Ankadans that are not very active, and there are some that are, they'll just say, do what you have to do and give it to me at the end. I will look at it. So it's very important you know which Ankadran that you are with, or the Ankadran that has been assigned to you, or the Ankadran that you have chosen. And it's always important not to wait for your Ankadran. That is one of the biggest mistake that you can do. Okay, because then sometimes you'll be like, yeah, he did not contact me, then I will not contact him. At the end of the day, you'll be the one, you'll be wasting your own time. So what are some of the Ankadans? Because Ankadans, they are professors, they have a lot of things on their plate. They are supervising more than three, four, five students, depending on the depending on your, maybe your class or something. So they don't have the time. They will not be there to be pursuing you. So you, as a student, you have to be proactive. You have to be very proactive. What I mean by that is, always when you have talked to them at the beginning, and you have made a plan, etc., etc., be the one to be writing, like write to, for example, if you have a plan, let's say you have a plan, you have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, you are at that stage. You should be the one to be providing him, like, what you've written in chapter 1, what you've written in chapter 2. Let them have something to work with. I remember when I started my thesis writing, at the beginning I was waiting for my professor, even though I don't know, like, now thinking about it, I'm like, why did I do that? But I was like, because I was doing my stage, and then I was like, okay, let me just take it to, let me wait for her and everything. And before I even chose her, we had a seminar on research methodology, just like this one, like multiple seminars. And for her, what she told us is that she likes students to be auto formation, doing learning by yourself. You understand? And at that stage, I don't know why it did not click. And then I was speaking to my friend with who I shared the same supervisor with. I was like, I'm waiting for her, because she has a lot to do, of course. Like, I don't even know why I did that. So he was like, I think we need to do right and send it to her and everything. And then later it makes all sense. I'm like, yeah, this auto formation really helped me, because I was the one, because it's a master's thesis. At that stage, they're expecting you to be a researcher. Like, they're expecting you to be a researcher, because after this you will be writing. They're expecting you to be able to publish articles and do stuffs like that. So the fact that we are the ones come writing and then sending it to her, being proactive really, really helped, because it helped boost your, I can say, confidence. And it also you also give your professor something to work with. And a personal side note is that when I started writing thesis, I was really suffering. I don't know why, but it was really hard for me to even start writing a full paragraph. Like, that stage is real, guys. It might not happen to everyone, but it might happen to a few of you, where you have the computer, you don't even have the motivation to even start researching, talk less of writing. That stage is real. And I was really struggling, and I spoke to my roommate at the time, and who is a PhD student. Told her that I am really struggling to even write or even make research, like, and time, I know that I don't have time on my side. And she was like, because you have that thing, will it be good enough, am I good enough, those things in your head. Will it be good enough, am I good enough? Like, will I be judged by my anchor ground for not providing a top quality? She told me that, first of all, what you have to do, just write. Just write. Just write. You have the information, just write. You don't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. And the professor would not judge you like a PhD student. The professor will know that you are a bachelor student, so they will judge you at that level. You are a master student, they will judge you at that level. You are a PhD student, they will judge you at that level. They're not going to expect you to know certain things that are above your qualifications. So that really helped me and boost my morale. And then I started writing. I'm like, what, I will just write, and I'm a PhD student. It doesn't have to be perfect. I write and I give it to my professor. My professor would tell me what to change and what not to change. So that was how it went. So that was just a personal side note to help you guys. Um, so now we are at the writing part. That's the second step, the writing part. So, like I said, thesis commonly is two parts if you are doing empirical studies. The first part, where you have your conceptual framework, problem statement, objectives, methodology, and all areas that are relevant to your topic. And then, Abdullah, you can move to the next slide. And then you have the second part, which is like the results and the discussion. This is the part where you do your results and the discussions and conclusions and references, etc., etc. So that doesn't mean that, like, for example, you have chapters, or in the francophone system you have party A, party B, but all of those stuff. But it's like, majority mainly is divided into two. That doesn't mean it's like the chapters are this thing. You can have chapter one, chapter two, but it's like separated, the first part and the second part. So that's what I mean by first part and second part here. You can move on to the next. So now the writing finishing touches. So maybe if you're doing your thesis, if you're writing and you've already written all your chapters, etc., etc. Um, so now, like, the things that the elements that you need to work on last, last are these parts here. You don't write your introduction, your conclusions are not the first things you write in your thesis. They are like the last ones. And in the introduction, what are the elements that you need to include into the introduction? You have the background to the topic. What I mean by background is like the how will I say this? When I say background is like the context. Actually, the context. What I mean by background? What is the context to the topic? How is it relevant? You understand? That is what it means by background. The purpose. What is the purpose or objective of your research? These are the things that you need to include into your introduction. The questions, the research questions and hypotheses, you need to include that into your thesis. The justification and significance of sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. I just saw a message from Mama. Um, So yeah, the research, the justifications and the significance of your topic. So we've talked about finding a research topic, um, but one important thing that I think we need to, not I think, I know we need to look at is how to formulate a research question. We need to talk about this. How to formulate a research question. My professor used to say finding a research problematic is like finding a dark cat, a black cat in a black room. So like everywhere you are looking more and more. I'm speaking my finger by the way. So like finding a problematic is very important, but also finding a topic is super important. These two are linked together. Your topic needs to be, it's your topic, research topic. It doesn't need to be broad. It needs to be, you need to narrow or uh, cerner in what we say French. You need to cerner your research topic. For example, it needs to be, let's say, it needs to touch on a specific field of study, a specific region that you want to work on, a specific region. For example, in my case, I'm talking about experience of international students. That is super broad, right? You can talk about anything. So I narrowed it down. That is like, the research topic. I found a research topic. Yes, experience of international students. Okay, I brought it down. Experience of international students in Morocco, and then I narrowed it down. Experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco. I narrowed it down. The academic experience of international students in Morocco. So it's like the so now the final topic is internationalization strategy of Morocco's higher education, comma, the academic experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco, or the analysis or the study of the experience of international students in Morocco. So you see, from broad to narrow, it's just like a funnel. Like a funnel. The funnel is like this. You understand? So this is the shape of a funnel. This is the big one, and then you have the narrow. That's the same way you need to think about a research topic. It needs to be very, 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 very narrow, and your problematic too as well should be very narrow. um, that's why literature review is very important, because it helps you formulate the problematic. What is the research topic that they talked about in that area? So coming back to this one, these are the things that you need to write. The last, your introduction, uh, is justification. When I talk about justification and significance, like you need to justify why is this research important. Why is this research important? You need to justify that. It is important because it's, for example, in my own justification on Sunday, I do not I say it's important. The reason why it's important is because there is a gap in the literature in this area, and I think that studying this would contribute to to the gap, to the to the existing literature, and it will help policymakers make, and the results from these findings will help policymakers improve their internationalization strategy in order to improve the academic experience of sub-Saharan students in Morocco. So you see, like, you're actually selling your research topic. You're telling them, you know what, this is why it's important. I've looked at the literature review and I found a huge gap. Although they talked about this, but they did not talk about A, B, C, and D. That is why I am actually, that's why I want to work on it. So the conclusion is like kind of like a summary of whatever everything, the key important findings, and no. The abstract. The abstract, we've touched on it. It contains the background topic, just like the introduction, but the abstract is like a concise summary. Is very, very, very concise. Very, very concise. But it needs to contain the background of the topic, the purpose, the objective, the methodology, the results, the background, and the keywords. That's how the abstract needs to be written. And we have the list of figures. The list of figures are all the, for example, the, sorry, I hope you guys know. Anyway, the list of figures. My stomach is making go. It's telling me that I'm hungry. Anyway, you have the list of figures. The list of figures. What are those? They are the all the graphs and images that you've used in your thesis. You need to write the list of figures and the place in which you will find them. For example, list of the figure one, you know, page 10, figure 2, page 11, figure 9. The table of content as well. That is, you guys are familiar with table of content, I believe. It's the acknowledgement. The acknowledgement part is like where you thank your friends, your professors. If you've done stage, the place where you've done your stage, you thank all of them. You thank, it's just a remerciement. And then you have the title page. So these are the things, last minute things that you will need to work on. Next slide, please. So guys, if you have your questions, please do not feel free to ask them. Okay. So here we're talking about the thesis defense. Now you've written your thesis like 3 months or 4 months, depending on the time duration that is given to you to write your thesis. You've been working with your encadrant from the beginning to the end, and he or she gave you the okay and be like, yes, your thesis is good, and now you have to come and defend your thesis. That is that trust me, that is one of the best feelings. One of the best feelings to get an okay from your anchor and be like, okay, yes, now your thesis is good. Come and defend it. So now the thesis soutenance or the thesis defense or soutenance is the same elements. When you're defending your thesis, you just need to include the same elements. You need to talk about the introduction, the background of the topic, the context, the objective, the methodology, etc., etc. The research questions that you worked on, your hypothesis, the methodology that you use or the research method that you use, the results that you found, and the discussion, like the results that you found, and you, because you have to analyze those results. And the best way to analyze results is, for example, since you've done your literature review, and in your results discussion, the results that you found, which is similar to what you found in your literature review, you are going to use those words, those works, and actually how is it, defend your own. So for example, if they found out, let's say a topic, a study that was done by Mamat found out that international students go through academic challenges. For example, they find it they find it difficult to adapt to the education system of their host country. They found there's problem of language barrier, etc., etc. And you found the same thing in your results. The students in your the participants in your research also mention the same thing. So when you're analyzing, you say, for example, this is just an example. Our research, very important. Whenever you are writing your research, you never use the word I, my research. I found this. I found, no, no, no. You always have to use the collective pronoun. We, our research, our findings. Always we and our, because although it's your research, I found out that so, I was reading one book and it says that saying might you find like boisterous or something, but I know there are other researches for it, reasons for it. But you always use we, our, maybe in areas where it's very necessary I, but is usually we, our. So for example, you say our research found that sub-Saharan students in Morocco um, experience academic challenges, uh, particularly when it comes to language barrier for students that are non-francophone. They've also found it difficult to adjust to the academic system with the education, something like that. And these findings was also found, or these results were also found by the research done by Mamat, and then you put quotation mark. So it shows you that you're not the only one who found these results, and it also boosts your credibility as a researcher. That is really important. So yeah, this is like the presentation um, things that have to do with the presentation. And I think you can go to the next slide. If okay, yes, we are at the end now. Move to just the last slide that we looked at. Yeah. Okay. So now, it's easy to talk theory, but sometimes it's difficult to put it into practice. For example, I remember my personal experience was, I was all these theories, they're telling me you need to write literature review, you need to do this conceptual framework, but the writing part, like what are the elements, what are the things that I need to include into this literature review, how to even write a literature review, you understand? So, and I remember the first literature review I did, oh my god, it was bad. I'm not even gonna lie, it was bad. And when I sent my first draft to my professor, she's like, really, because she goes direct, she's like, what is this? What are you like, what is this, she's like, I'm like, it's true, nak, because she tells me this is not the way to write a literature review. So she gave me tips and tricks to how to write a literature review. So I really want to share that with you guys. um you remember the fish the lecture where you organized everything, taking in important details from the articles that you've read. One of the best ways to write a literature review is to read the literature review of those articles. You need that's number one, the best way to read it. Look at the elements that they included into the literature review. So, for example, here, Abdullah, you can stop sharing. I'll start sharing now. Abdullah, have you stopped sharing so that I can share? Mm, here, let's look at an article where there's okay. Let me look for an article where it clearly where so this actually was a paper, an article. I know it would take time to this thing, but 1 minute. It's taking a bit of a time to yes. So here, so this is one of the few articles that I've found on the sub-Saharan students' experience in Morocco. It's written by Johara Baran, Johara Baran, in 2015. So it's on the sub-Saharan students in Morocco, determinants everyday life and future plans of high skilled migrant groups. This is one of the articles that I was able to find, and I really use it in my thesis. So, like now here, we are just going to look at. So you see what we are talking about, the abstract. So the abstract, you see how concise the abstract and how short the abstract is. The abstract is really short. Let me give you a view. So this is the abstract. It's super short, but it contains all the important details that you need to that is found in the article. So I'm not going to go through them, but this is how short this thing is, the abstract is, and it includes the keywords like I was saying. African migrants, high skilled migrants, these keywords are very important. For example, the reason why it's there is because when somebody wants to when somebody wants to search for an article and they put in these keywords, enter these keywords, it will help the person to see this article. So that is why it's important. You have the acknowledgements, etc., etc. Let's see, literature review, whether it's here. Hmm, okay, so let me see this one. Here's the introduction. Okay, so here is the literature review. This is the literature review. This is where it starts. So So you see the literature. I will just read through it, just for you guys to have an idea of it, and I will also show you my literature review as well. So here it says a recent but growing literature on the relationship between student mobility and economic migration has highlighted the similarities between student high school and since students represent you see a potential human capital asset for sending countries. This is in quotation mark. Just follow what I'm reading, guys. Let me try and zoom it. I'm unable to zoom it. Let's see. Okay. So let me also look for my this thing just in case. So the literature review is like you are actually it's like a conversation between different authors or the different results found by authors. So it's not that you just come because I remember the first literature review I did. I would just come and say a study done by this. It was found out that this. And then that was how the method I was used. And then my professor was like, no, literature review is like a conversation between authors. And then I was like, okay, how will I know the best way to write a literature? So I'm going to read the literature review of every articles that are found, or majority of the articles that are found. I'm going to read the literature and see the elements that have been written. So that's how I was able to write my literature review. It's like a conversation. So for example, here you see that the author, this one used the findings of this author here, but she is seamlessly introducing it into the conversation. So that is what it is. You always It's like a conversation between authors. So for example, here, uh, the author of this article started. The person started a recent but growing literature on the relationship between student mobility and economic migration has highlighted the similarities between students and high skilled workers. Since students represent since students represent, and now she seamlessly introduced this point. Since students represent a potential human capital asset for sending countries, this is the results that she found in this article here. You see, so this is reinforced by the fact that international students are likely to stay in their training country for work after completing their studies. Studying abroad is often conceived as a strategy to enter a foreign labor market and hence to realize a migration aspiration. You see, wherever you see a quotation, like a in-text citation like this, wherever you see in-text citation, you know that information is not the information of the author, is the information from the of the article that they found. So you see they're seamlessly introducing it. She is seamlessly introducing into her topic. So that is the best way to write a literature review. I would stop sharing my screen, and I will show you my literature review from my let's see, where can I find it? 1 minute. 1 minute, let me look for this. And so, guys, let me share my screen. What is this? Mm, uh, wait a minute. Come on. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Let me share this with you guys. So this is my thesis. This is my thesis. Here it's the title. It's Morocco's higher education internationalization strategy and analysis on the academic experience of sub-Saharan students. So this is the summary. The summary is different from the table of contents. This summary here is different from the table of contents. It directs you. It takes you directly to the key. Uh, it's the summary is like a summary of the table of content. That is what it is. For example, it takes you to where the abstract is, the resume, which is abstract but in French, the introduction, where the introduction can be found, chapter one, where chapter one can be found, where um where chapter one can be found, what chapter two exactly, where the conclusion can be found, what the references can be found, so that it can help the reader easily navigate your listing. So this is the abstract. Is a bit short, you see. For a thesis of 100 pages, the abstract is like half a page or is very very short. So you look at my problematic. This is my two research questions. First is my first research question is, what are the different aspects of the sub-Saharan students' academic experience in Morocco? I wanted to find out what are the different aspects of it. And the second one is, to what extent are they satisfied with their overall academic journey in Morocco? So these are my two research questions. And the reason why I was able to formulate this research question is, one, a lot of research literature review, and also, my professor also helping me, guiding me, making my ideas clearer. So yeah, so yeah. Um So this is the dedication, acknowledgement, list of figure, list of figures. This is how a list of figure is made. This is how a list of figure is made. Um, like I said, figure one. Where is it? This is the figure one here. And where can you find the figure one, page 15, etc., etc. So you put all your list of figures. Is the introduction, and you see with introduction there's always in-text citation. Anytime it's not your own, you put in-text citation, because research is like you are building on the knowledge of other people. So yeah, this is my research question as mentioned, and this is my hypothesis. So I said this research hypothesis was grounded in the premises that a higher satisfaction rate among sub-Saharan students in Morocco suggests a successful implementation of Morocco's higher education internationalization strategy. So this is my hypothesis. So I was through my research, I should be able to prove whether this is true or not. So if there was a low satisfaction, for example, if there was a low satisfaction rate among sub-Saharan students, then it means that the strategy that Morocco is trying to implement is not being successful. Now, if there is a high satisfaction, then it means that yeah, at least it's working, because that is the premises of what, that's the reason why we are the scholarships are given, etc., etc. So enough with that. Let's go to the literature review. Okay, so this is the literature review. So yeah, this is the literature review. Literature review substance students experience. So this is how, like, you give a small context background of, like, chapter two. This is chapter two, na, 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 and then you said literature review. So I'll just read small context background of international student mobility. Um, uh, you understand that international students might have a long-standing, international student mobility has a long-standing phenomenon, enabling students from diverse cultures, races, backgrounds to pursue their expected. So I said, despite the ease of accessibility and technological advancement in the modern era, the journey of international students is far from smooth. Our literature review revealed that international students encounter different challenges depending on host country, the part of the world they may come from, or their race, for example, in the case of Black African students. It also revealed that there are many aspects to these challenges, but the most common ones are, you see. So you start, this is how it's like you are telling a story. You're writing, moving from point A to point B. You understand? So that is how it's written. So you divide it according to what you are talking about. I divided it into different sections. So for example, I'll give you an example of how to seamlessly include the research findings of other people. Here I said on the aspect of language barrier and new learning environment. Um, I will just read here. Many international, for example, here, I'll start from here. I said many international students are mandated to undertake language courses to facilitate their pursuit of higher education. Nevertheless, a multitude of students confront formidable hurdles upon commencing their university journey due to the constraints such as limited time allocated to language acquisition, inadequate technical teaching methods, and rudimentary um, curriculum. So this is this all the way, all of this here, all of this is not mine. I am paraphrasing. I am including it into my research. So this is how you seamlessly do it. You paraphrase and you include it, or you quote, you include it depending on what you want to do. So yeah, for the literature review, I don't want to take a lot of time on it. Maybe if you guys want me to explain it further, maybe you can contact me. And if you want my research my thesis, maybe to help orient you and to look at it further, etc., etc. You can reach out to me. So yeah, that is basically it. I know we've not talked about certain things like how to write a questionnaire, na 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 na. Maybe if you guys want to reach out to me directly, I am fine. So yes, that's the end of the presentation. And just before we go, I want to share my research findings with you guys. Just a summary of it. What I've found. Um, just a flash. This is in French. So I just want to share with you guys and the methodology, like the just the findings. So I like I said, I have I how would I say 100. I was able to acquire 108 responses, and through that I was able to analyze the data that I found through SPSS, which is some people use Excel, some people use other software to analyze their data, but I use SPSS. And like I said, it was 108 participants from 24 countries. All to 50% of the respondents were Anglophone. And when it comes to the motivation of choice, since the reason why I'm sharing this is because we are international students in Morocco, and this directly impacts all of us. And when I was really doing looking when I was collecting data, the many Gasamians participated, and I really want to say thank you. I want to take this opportunity and thank you for um, responding, and it means a lot. And I really want to advise everyone, like, if you see people who are doing their research and they need data, please help them fill in the forms. So like these data, they are anonymous, so the informations, personal informations, are not taken, and they are not um, used by a third party. You know what I mean? So yeah, in relations to the motivation of choice to study in Morocco, um 50 more than 50%, it was actually 54%, more than 50% said it's because of availability of scholarship, that is why they are in Morocco. And these are just the big findings. So, and while 11-12% said they want to study in a prestigious university. So this is the response of 108 participants. So when it comes to the academic experience, more than almost 70% said that um, the quality of education in their various institutions is good. The quality of academic support also 40, more than, I think, above 40% said is good as well. Linguistic service provided, um, almost 45% said that it's insufficient, especially for students that are not non-francophone. And um, around nearly 20% said that the bi-monthly stipend in on AMSI is insufficient. So these are the main findings. The academic integration, 20 almost 20% said that they don't have Moroccan friends. 60% said that they rarely engage with Moroccans when it comes to social events. When I asked what was the main reason for not interacting, like they said, 45% or so said it's because of language barrier. Some said cultural integration. So yeah, when it comes to interaction with international students, there is high interaction among international students within themselves than with Moroccans. So when it comes to discrimination, 60% of the participants said that they fall victim to discrimination, and the majority of those who responded said it's discrimination based on their skin color. And when it comes to the places that they've experienced discrimination, more than almost 30% said at the university, some said in their neighborhood. So yeah, 20% said it's in on their neighborhood. When it comes to security of the country and their general satisfaction, 80% said Morocco is safe and moderately safe. Um, 45% are 45% are satisfied with their global academic experience, while 40% remain neutral. So these are the general findings, and I did made some recommendations that to policymakers that they should not ignore the 40% that remain neutral. They should make sure that they improve some of the aspects of international students. So that is pretty much it. So yeah, Abdullah, you can comment. So thank you so much for your kind attention. And if you have any personalized questions, feel free to reach out, especially those who are Gassamians and those who are not Oko Gassamians. We will see how best you can. Maybe you can reach out to me through my email. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just a master's graduate. I'm here to share my knowledge with you guys. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Javi. This is wonderful. And I'm sure this would be a great reference to one of us, to some of us who might be either writing their thesis this year or even next year. I'm very sure of it. The session is indeed fruitful. So far I think we have two questions in the chat from the same guy, from
Okay.
Charlie Jamet. Okay. So let me
Okay.
tag his first question. Okay. So his first
Okay.
question, okay. Good evening, Jabi. My name is Bakari A. Jame, doing masters in renewable energy. And can you differentiate research papers, review paper, literature papers? Because this creates a very big confusion among us in our first year. Now we are in our second semester. Many students' choice topics keep changing every now and then. Some cannot do anything in our first year. We have to prepare research papers, review papers, literature papers. Students don't three. Well, I guess what he's trying to ask is like can you differentiate among these three?
A
Thank you
research
very.
paper, a review paper. Oh yes. Okay. Thank you so much. So like a research paper, a review paper, and a literature paper. For example, the literature paper. I don't know what you mean by literature paper, but I think what you mean here is the articles. So like a review paper, the difference between just to make it simple, the difference between a review paper and a literature an article is that an article is like an original finding. So it's like an article, you work on a topic, a specific questions, you find your results, and you talk about those results. But usually, review papers is like they go through different review articles that have been written on a particular topic, and they review it. So when you're looking for articles, you always like for your if you're looking for articles for your thesis, always look for articles that are not review papers. Don't look for review papers, because except if you want to look at the general summary of it, like a summary of whatever is happening. But when you are looking for articles, always go for articles that are original. I try to avoid review papers unless and until maybe your professor advises it or something like that, because they don't contain original they don't contain original results, and you cannot use those in your literature review. I don't. I hope I answered that to your question. Always go for articles that are original, that have their methodologies, that have their results, that have their analysis. The review is just like they are reviewing what has already been done, nothing original. Maybe they just want to gather everything, do- um, gather all the literature that has been found to help people understand what is the discussion, what is being found, what has not been found. Maybe it's important to read literature, like the review paper, when, because sometimes they look at what has existed and what has not existed, and sometimes they look at the recommendation on future research. So maybe you can look at the recommendations they have stated, and you say, okay, okay, now I understand what is there. Now I don't understand what is there, so I can use what is not there to find my own entry point. But you cannot use it when you're writing your literature review in your thesis. I hope I made that clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the same guy asked another question as well. Let me check. Um, Jame, I hope that your question is well answered. And he also asked another question. How do student res- how do st- I think he meant to say how is student research published to journal or reference?
Oh, okay. Student research
Hmm,
usually, is it, will it take many, how many months, years, and things like
yeah,
that? So okay, usually, like for example, if you're an undergraduate or master's, undergraduate or master's student, your research, I don't know what you mean by publish, because usually bachelor's or master's student research are not published, because when, for something to be published, it needs to go through peer review. That is how research is published. It needs to go through peer review, their steps, etc., etc. This is just an academic. It's just like a requirement for you to graduate. You understand? It's like a requirement for you to graduate. So maybe, I might be wrong. Maybe in your own institution, you guys, they publish your research, or maybe that's why you are asking. But generally, it's not published. It's internal. It's left internal, and the articles that you see floating around, they are peer reviewed. They go through processes, and they are published by reputable journals. So that is a separate thing. Usually PhD students, PhD students, the articles that they write, you understand, those are the ones that are published in reputable journals, because they are like at the stage of a professional researcher. So it's like their papers or whatever they pull out, their materials are peer reviewed and they're published. But usually for and masters and undergraduate, to what I am aware of, they are not published. They are internal. Maybe you find them in the libraries of your schools, etc., etc., to help other students. But usually they are not published. So yeah. Except maybe other fields of studies are different, so because but to the best of my knowledge, that is what I know.
yeah. Thank you very much, Javi, about that. The third question is from German to Emilia. He said, what step did you take to ensure the validity and the reliability of your data?
What steps did I take to ensure the validity and reliability of my data? Okay. That's a really important question. Usually when you're doing your research, you make it as objective as possible. For example, the data you are collecting, you make sure that, you number one, first, is that the questions that you're formulating for your questionnaire, they are not biased. Because sometimes, even though they say researchers are objective, but we are not the researchers. Researchers are not, we are human beings. So sometimes you try to, you can be unbiased, or you can be biased, sorry. So you make sure that you work on questions that are objective. And do we able to because the first I remember the first questions that I formulated for my questionnaire, I sent it to my professor, and so it's like I'm working with my professor. You understand? I got ideas of those questions from literature review and things like that, and I sent the first draft to my professor, and my professor commented on things that I need to change. There were so many questions I needed to reformulate, or I needed to change, or I needed to remove. So that is forced to test the viability from the research question part. And also the for it to be valid, the second one is or the come on Dinesh, the data that I collected, because when in each questionnaire you state the purpose of your research, and you assure them that it's not going to be shared with a third party, and that you are not collecting any personal information. So this that is a second thing. And the third thing is you use SPSS. Usually you don't you usually, except if you're a math genius, you know, to do this like calculating type it, you use a software. You enter all the data. And also I think also like there's in research there's something called ethics. You need to be ethical as a researcher to the best of your ability. You need to be ethical. So you don't just use people's information anyhow, or you try to include something that they do not say. That is something that's between you and you. I think that's very important. You have to be very, very ethical. So that is something you need to first this thing, because being on ethical, it will show in your research, and if it's found out, it's punable. If you can be punished for that, especially when you're a professor or whatnot. So yeah, so I used an SPSS to analyze my data, and the SPS. If some of you might be familiar with it, some of you might not be. Um, you enter all the because my questionnaire, they were both online and hard paper. So and when you are entering them into SPS, you need to enter them individually. So it takes a lot of time. The reason why it takes a lot of time is to make sure that you don't enter any false data. So it takes. I remember it took me like weeks to finish that. So but immediately you finish that, you are able to you understand SPS says it will be it's easier. You make sure that whatever you are looking for, it's calculated for you. You find the percentages and the statistics, etc. So basically, I hope I explained my questions. I sorry, my head is going. I think I'm hungry. That's why. So I hope I am able to. I answered that question, the validity of it and the reliability of it. I used a software which is well known in the academic, especially in social sciences. So the software, you are not, it is the one doing everything for you, and you make sure that you do it to the best of your ability, and always be ethical. Be ethical is very important. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Javi, about that. It's very crucial. In fact, this question was raised. I'm very glad the way you answered it, even because having to see like we don't have to re-implement the wheel. These softwares were meant to make our jobs easier, and since at least I'm using them, as well, help saves a lot of time and then confusion as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And is there any other question?
There are no further questions except thanks and thanks and thanks. That's indeed a
Okay.
great session. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And also, before I leave, I will try and share with you a
That's okay.
YouTube link. Maybe
Yeah.
in the Gasam page.
Mm.
It's a YouTube link to a lady, an amazing lady who is a professor, PhD. She graduated with her PhD, and she helps students in their research journey, the different things that I've explained. She also explains them, but I remember using it, and she cleared a lot of issues and confusions for me. So I'll send that. I sent it last year. I will send it this year again. And I hope that what I've shared with you today is helpful. Maybe you are familiar with many of the things that I've said here. Maybe you are not. Maybe you've learned something new. And yeah, I wish you guys all the best of luck in your thesis writing. Hopefully, this continues every year on the part of GASAM, because this is something that I want to for it to continue on the part of GASAM every year too. Maybe next year it might not be me, maybe some like a professor. You guys can invite a professor or someone who would always come and give seminars on research methodology. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Jabi. Thank you. We are really glad to have you. Yeah, hopefully this continues. So thank you very much. And to our viewers, thank you for showing up for the wonderful comments as well, those and questions as well. Thank you. And to remind you, this is a seminar on research methodologies and thesis writing with Professor Javi. Javi, by the way, there's a poll going on to call you Professor. By the way.
Abo, where? Where is the poll going on?
Yeah, it's in our group chat. Okay, guys.
Abo, which
Yeah,
in the GASAM group chat?
yeah, in the Gasam group chat, you made the
Abo,
one. This is indeed great. Thank you very much, fellas. Okay, without much to
have a
say, I
good.
guess can say bye bye.
Bye bye, guys. Hope
Take
to
care.
see you in our next programs. Always
Yeah.
follow some events. Follow
Mm-hmm.
our Facebook pages and social media.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Up to
Thank
date
you.
of what we are doing. Oh,
Exactly.
Yusufa said, as a GASAM alumni, I'm so happy of you people. Thank you so much, Yusufa.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Ismail. Thank you.
It's nice to see alumni following GASAM programs. That says a lot.
Exactly. Exactly. It
Appreciate
really
it.
means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Mm-hmm.